Callie Finn. Listen, I'm excited because Unrivaled is around the corner, and one of the big names in Unrivaled is Angel Reese, and she just keeps doing things constantly that make a big wave, right? And so we're going to talk about her, but we're also going to talk about Gabby Thomas because the two of them just appeared on the cover of Vogue's Winter 2025 issue, and it was really a surprise, I think, for many. Like, not a surprise that either two of them would be the cover, but no one was expecting it. You're not really supposed to know who's going to be on the cover. And with Angel Reese in particular, it was a big deal because she had taken an Instagram break, and, you know, there'd been a lot of commentary and noise around her. So for her to like kind of return to Instagram on the day with this announcement, it was like a big deal. I woke up in the morning, I happened to see it like very early, like very shortly after it was announced, after she got the cover, and I was like, oh my goodness, she's on the cover of Vogue. So super excited for her. Here's some behind the scenes. You know, I always love the behind the scenes a lot, like even more sometimes than like the regular photos. But, you know, I liked her cover. I liked the red. I liked, you know, it was a bold choice, and, you know, I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I think, you mentioned like you're not really supposed to know who's on the cover, but when you think about kind of like how this fits into everything Angel Reese has done, it just makes total sense. I mean, you think about her rookie year, she's at the Met Gala mid-season, and that's completely normal for her. Like, she is someone who has definitely, I mean, you see the like headline there, when sports met fashion. I think she's the perfect person to kind of front line or spearhead that. And then I think having a track star incorporated into that as well is really cool to see because Gabby Thomas, obviously 200-meter Olympic gold medalist, 4x4 star, but also she mentions in the feature story that like she's kind of had like a fashion coming out, like she's kind of,
Yes.
kind of making a foray into fashion. And so it's like two different iterations of what fashion combining with sports can look like. There she is. Like, look at those legs just looking incredible. I think that that's like something really cool to see because, I mean, track is one of those sports that like you love to watch, but maybe only gets a lot of exposure during the Olympics. And I think a lot of track athletes have been talking about how they can change that. And this is how you help change that. It's like, growing your stardom outside of the sport. And so that's really cool to see.
I feel like women's sports is just getting so much attention, and I just, not that track didn't get a lot of attention before, especially like in Olympic years, it certainly did, but I feel like the track girlies this year just really, I don't know, after this Olympics, I don't know, but I just feel like a lot of attention, got on them, and so I like the idea that it was, a basketball player and a track, star, and just what do you think about this whole like I mean, it's always been there, definitely, but this crossing over, this intersection with the fashion and sports.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. I love that we're talking about this in the scope of like basketball and track because those are the sports where I feel like you've seen that the most, like for women. Like I think of Angel Reese did a great job in the story talking about women that came before her that did exactly this, like that highlighted fashion while playing the sport. Like it's nothing new in the WNBA, and then it's the same thing with track and field. Like you look at somebody like, oh my gosh, I'm blanking now, but like there are so many women and like in the years of track of the history.
Flojo, going back to her,
You.
remember like with the nails, and like I just feel like yeah.
I mean, thank you. I mean, and she's like, when you look at Sha'Carri, like Flojo is the one that like laid that foundation. Sha'Carri Richardson is someone who I feel like has pushed the boundaries of how track and fashion can coincide. Like we've seen her wear fishnets underneath a Nike, speed set. Like that's like really not something that you see all the time, but Flojo really started that, like with the one-legged and all
Yeah.
the nails, the
She's
hair,
really the mother
everything.
of the one legging, if you
Yes.
think about it. I know the
Thank you.
basketball
And like
girlies
now
are
that's
doing
something
it
that we
now.
see so much in the WNBA. So it's
Yeah.
like, to me, this is something that I feel like is so important, especially when you talk about like the diversity within women's sports. Like I feel like we just spent, we went into the new year talking about how like this is the year, 2025 is the year for women's sports, but like this is part of it. There are so many different women represented in all of these sports that we love, like from so many different like walks of life and fashion styles and interests. And so like this is the way we get to see them express that. And I think that that's really valuable.
Yeah, I thought it was like really cool to see the two of them on the cover and to read what they had to say, and then just like their interactions, like together. It looks like they were having a good time, and they both respect each other so much. So that's cool because they're like fans of each other, and I think that's really dope. I just love where women's sports is going. It's long overdue for this kind of attention, and so I feel really full. Like every time I see it, I feel so happy. I'm so excited. So I think, and look, I just think they look so good.
They do. They look fantastic.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier about Angel Reese taking a break from Instagram, and so she hasn't publicly stated why she took the break. There was some speculation because, whatever it is with Angel Reese, she makes headlines. People are always trying to police her. I don't know what it is about Angel Reese, but there's been sort of this narrative that's started about like the way she dresses, and depending on who you talk to, some people think people are trying to slut shame her. If it's just, but there's a lot of criticism around how she dresses. And, I saw like people just, I don't know, went crazy for some reason over an outfit she posted on New Year's Eve of like what she was wearing. And there were like theses and papers and, obviously I'm being a little facetious here, but just people carrying on about it like they do all the time. And there's this implication, like, not that it matters, but that like she's always showing too much of her body. And like, that's just not true. Like there's many times she's covered up, but like it's her body and it's an amazing body. And if she wants to show it off, she's allowed to do that. And I don't understand why people are trying to police her so much, but she had this great caption: "I covered up and gave y'all cover girl." And that's how she came back to Instagram, And what a way, because people were saying she was cheapening her brand, Callie, and all of this stuff. And then she comes back on the cover of Vogue, Callie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that I just resent deeply, like trying to police women and how they dress and things like that. I do think people also took some things out of context. I know on her podcast, she had La Roche, Zendaya's stylist,
Yes.
on there. And so she showed him some like images of outfits that she'd worn. And he mentioned that he'd like to see her wear more clothes. You know what I mean? So then people took that and were like,
they took it super literally.
Stylist.
They took it super literally.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think that's what he meant.
No, not at all. I think what he's saying is like so much of fashion is like layering and combining and like trying new things. And like there's nothing wrong with like adding more layers, to an outfit to maybe like make it more interesting or like visually complex. Like I feel like that's what he was getting at because he's like a fashion expert. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that he was trying to say that she's like overexposed. You mentioned like cheapening her brand, and I feel like that's such like a social media critique. You know what I mean? And I would just say
agree.
Like, the heck with that. I mean, look at the material. Like we're on the cover of Vogue.
Right.
I would also say that like, look at the response. She's wearing Versace on that cover, and Donatella Versace posted that image and was like, "Look at you go. I love it." Like basically forget the haters. And I do think that like part of this also is like Angel is someone, and we've seen this for so long, like even at LSU, like she's someone who really like, she has unapologetic tattooed on her forearm. You know what I'm saying? And I think that bothers a lot of like the social media critiques that maybe you're alluding to, because it's like, it's hard to see a reaction from her. Like I remember vividly when Flau'jae said like, you might not see it, but like this all weighs on her. Like this is not easy to be in the spotlight the way that she is and consistently kind of be target to so many attacks. Obviously she's not alone in that like predicament. That's common for women, female athletes, just in general, like women athletes. Yes. It's just like the name of the game. But I do think that it's cool to see her continue to just be like, keep trying, I'll keep winning. Every single time there's like some type of attack, she kind of just comes up on top.
She does. And I think it's such a full circle moment considering she announced that, she was going to the league in Vogue, right? That's how she announced that she was leaving LSU. And it hasn't even been a full calendar year, right? I don't think. And she's on the 2025 winter issue cover of Vogue, and it's just every time people try to come up with their narratives about her or talk about her, she comes back and just makes them look silly. She tweeted yesterday, show up as yourself, even if it makes others uncomfortable. And then I thought it was so great that her cover girl partner, cover of Vogue is what I'm referring to, wish I had heard this advice sooner. So I think that's so dope to see that interaction between them. But, Angel is so young and still growing. And I just think, like Flauché said, the crown she wears is heavy. And the way, to me, I think, considering all that comes at her, I think she's handled herself pretty gracefully. And I'm proud of her. And I hope to keep seeing many, many more things come for her.
Yeah, I just want to note too, Gabby Thomas saying she'd wish she'd heard that advice sooner, I feel like has a little bit more weight because this is a Harvard product. Like she was running track at Harvard and studying like neuroscience or something like that. And like to know that like even she could have benefited from the advice to be yourself in every situation, no matter like what the implications may be. Like that says a lot about the way that Angel Reese is leading her life at such a young age. Because I mean, Angel is younger than Gabby, you know what I mean? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, Callie, thank you for joining me for this conversation. Congratulations to Angel and Gabby. You guys are just representing well for women's sports. And I hope that, like I said, many things keep coming to both of you. I feel like Gabby, I saw someone refer to her as an icon, which I'd agree with. Is Angel Reese one too, or is she an icon in the making? I mean, what do you think? But I think she definitely moves the needle.
I mean, to me, it's like we've consistently seen people try to undersell Angel's impact on the WNBA as part of this like incredible draft class and things like that. And I think that we're at the point where like, let's stop doing that. Like the impact at least is clear. The motion, as the young folks say these days, is clear. Like she clearly has motion, clearly very marketable. You know what I'm saying? I'm using
You're
all the
a young person. What do you talk about the young people?
I know I'm playing. I have my grandma glasses on today, so I'm playing. But yeah, to me, it's like let's just like be honest with ourselves about that, and we can talk about icon whatever. She just finished her rookie year. You know what I'm saying? But like,
know, but
let's at least be honest about the impact.
She's pushing the boundaries, and I love that for her and us. So there's going to always be more on Angel. So, but again, Callie, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.